My name is Fitzroy Anderson. I'm 70, born on the 25th of March, 1951. And a place called Landui in Jamaica, St. Thomas. I came to England on the 11th of October, 1964. I'm a country boy, so from the country, the real country. So there's not many cars, there's just one bus maybe every couple of days. The school I went to is a school called Bethesda School. And apart from going to school and coming home, we normally have chores that we can look after pigs, goats, cows. We have animals, and that was my chore to look after them after school. And that was basically it. I had to work like a big man at the age of 9, 10 years old. I have to be responsible for all these animals. So that was it's not as if she had fun. I didn't have no fun really. My life was very strict from an early age. My school was like 1.5 miles from where I live, 1.5 mile. I have to walk to, and 1.5 mile back from school. And can you imagine walking in the morning, sun blazing down, it's hot. But that's always the norm. So we walk to school, we go to school. School was nice, I like school. I love school because all my friends, they were there, we could mess about, we could play. We had various games that we normally play during the course of the day. And it was one class, one teacher per day. I mean, the teacher, maths, English, is just one teacher. But I find school, it was difficult and not so difficult. But I gravitate to some subject and not to others. But after school, I had to walk that 1.5 miles home again. When I get home, I have to go and look after the pigs, the goat, the chickens, whatever. And that was my life. And then from there, we had dinner, and then we didn't have a TV, we had a radio, so we could listen to the radio sometime, and that was it. And as if we had any games to play, we would just sit in the yard with the family and we just talk stories. Well, my mum came to England, so we lived with my aunt and Vida. So that was me, your dad, Paul, Uncle Jim and Bev. Uncle Jim and Bev came in 1963. And me and Paul came in 1964 to England. And but while in Jamaica, we had fun as brothers growing up together. But my aunt was very strict, very strict. Sometimes we couldn't even play with each other as brothers, because if we had to do something, we couldn't be playing while we were supposed to do what we were supposed to do. So I never liked that bit with my auntie. She was, I think, too strict with us, very strict. But apart from that, I love going with my brothers. It was good. When Jim came to England and leave me and Paul, I was fretting because all the pressure was down on me now, because I'm older than Paul, so everything was the box up with me. And we had to travel like 1 mile to go and catch water, the river. We had to get a zinc pan, a water pan, we had like for 1 mile to get one zinc pan of water, come, put in the barrel, go back, and that was 4 times in the morning before we go to school. So after looking after the pigs, the goat, and everything else. So it was, and I'm talking about, I was about 11 years old, doing this kind of work. But that was the norm. For a boy from a rural area in Jamaica, that's what you do. But so I couldn't say I never enjoyed it, because I didn't know any better. I didn't know any difference. So that was normal for me at my age to do. But apart from that, my family structure was very good. When my mom and dad was there, my dad was like a man who just got the rum bar and drink. It's a lovely rum bar. So my mom is always home looking after us. Him going rum bar and play diamond with him, friend him. And he'll come home late at night and drunk. And they'd argue. But we're children, we could hear the argument, but there's not much we could do about it. But apart from that, we had some good time with them. When my dad leave, was like, must have been about 7, because he leave before she earned it. And then when she come in, my mom come in, then it was difficult, it was hard for her, because she have to look after 4 children by herself, and there was not much money coming from nowhere. So my dad used to try and send as much money home from England as he could, which he did. And then when she come in, I went to live with my auntie and Vida. Then she was getting money to look after, but she wasn't good. She wasn't good to us at all. She was evil. My auntie was evil. She used to beat us regular, proper beating, tie up and beat and everything. She was an evil lady. Jim couldn't stand her. Neither could I. But Bev and Paul, because they were younger, they never get no. But Paul was a star boy. I'm serious. I couldn't play with him because the man used to say, "You're too black, you can't play with him. So you're black." And she said, "You can't play, so you're black and ugly." This was my aunt. So, they are just color thing from back in the days and from slavery. If somebody look a bit lighter than somebody, then you're inferior to them. I think she messed up my self-esteem to a degree back when I was a child. The things she used to do to me and Jimmy. But I think I overcome it over time. But it was not necessary for her to be that cruel to us. I mean, she was very cruel to us. So when I was coming to England, I was glad to come to England. I wanted to get away from her. And when I came, I've never written to her once, not even once. I didn't remember. Once I look at the plane, I forget all about her. She would never exist in my life no more. That's how much I disliked her, which is not nice to say, but that's fact. I mean, like, who feeds it knows it. I mean, and I felt it. I left Jamaica on the 11th of October 1964, on Saturday, and I come in Sunday morning. So when my parents decided to send for me to England, I didn't know where I was going. I have no imagination what England was like. When my mom said, she always, when they write and say, "Oh, it's cold and it's dark," right? It's a dark place. The place is always dark and it's cold. Apart from that, I never really couldn't imagine where England was at my age. I just see England. I never have no preconceived idea what it was. I knew them say it was cool and dark, and that was it. And when I came, I saw it was cool and dark for real. My dad came first. Then my mom came 2 years later. My dad come 58, my mom come 60. So my dad come for the same thing. They come for a better life for us. But they all come for 3 years, maximum 3 years or 5 years. But so all the people come in the 60s, they always come for 2 or 3 years. But they're still here in England, and many of them never make it back home. And so my dad come, and a couple of years himself, my mother and she come, and then Jim and Paul, Bev and Jim come, and then me and Paul come. This was taken before I come to England. This was taken 2 years before I came to England. So it would have been 1962. Me and Jim took this together. And he came 2 years before me, in the year 63. He came a year before me. So we took this together at the same time. That's my passport picture. I was picked up from the Heathrow airport, I think it was. My mom, Uncle Evans, and my dad. And it's freezing cold, freezing October. And I was driving from the airport in the car. Everything seemed so strange. All these houses and smoke coming out the top of the chimneys. Never seen chimneys, but like Jamaica, everything is open. We don't wear jumpers and clothes, we just shorts and t-shirt. Driving all the way down, the place looks so strange. All the houses joined up together. In Jamaica, every house is an individual house, isn't it? And I said to my mom, "Oh, the houses, they look like barracks, like they're soldiers' barracks." She said, "No, that's the houses." I said, "Is it?" She said, "Wait, the beauty of the house are inside." So when I get to 42 Windsor Road, that's where I was living. And when I go inside, so paper on the wallpaper. Some pretty paper, them time had some pretty wall. I said, "What's it?" And then them time had liners on the floor, there was no carpet. I said, look, I was so kind of mesmerized because I'm coming from a different environment to this. The Monday, they took me to school, Pound Lane School, to register. And then went to school on a Wednesday. And I don't think I find the racism was in my face at school. Even at that age I could see it. And I never liked school. And there's a little boy called and all that, them little white boys and all that. And when I came here first, I went to school, I used to fight every day. I used to break up the kids in the school regular. And people wonder, "Oh, I'm so violent. Why am I so violent?" But I think it was all the pent-up hatred and hunger inside of me, which I couldn't let out when I was with her. So anybody crossed me when I came, I used to just broke them up, Virgin. But I knew that it was anger, which I couldn't let out my hand over the years that she was being wicked to me. So anybody crossed my path, when I'm getting older, I'm 14, 15, 13, I'm a big boy now, so I ain't taking the from nobody no more. That type of attitude, I mean. So my first day of school, when I went there, like I was in the playground, didn't know anyone. You know, the parents took to school, playtime, everybody was running around kicking football. I was just standing there looking around. I remember this white boy came on, Smith his name was. He comes, are you a new boy here? I say, yeah, nervously. And he stepped back and looked at me, spit right in my face. And that's a man full of spit. I look at the size of him and I couldn't do nothing about it. And I had to let it ride in it. But that Kilimanjaro was a culture shock. And I see him every day in the playground, but he was such a bigger guy than me. I couldn't do nothing. But I catch up with him though. 6 months later, about 3 months later, I catch up with him. And I deal with him. He was shocked when I dealt with him. I was never going to let that go. No way could I let it ride, no way. And then from then, I started to mix with the guys in the school and I started to become popular playing football and cricket. And it was fun after a while. I mean, playtime, the black kids in one corner, the white kids in one corner, and a few in there, wasn't many Indian kids, a couple of them, because in England there wasn't that much Indian in the country at the time. So we all went over all little corners. We never intermixed for some reason, I don't know why. But that was the 60s, isn't it? You know, racism was rife them days. I mean, even the teachers was racist. You know, it was blatant. By the time there was not much you could do about it. You have to go to school, and even teachers them calling names, even though they wouldn't be able to do that now. But it was acceptable then. The teacher didn't never see any different. Hey, you come over here. That type of thing, you know what I mean? One day when I woodwork and metal work, and the woodwork, she said, hey, come over here, boy, I want to talk to you. And I have to go because he's a teacher and he's not calling me by my name, but it's because we point to him, hey, you come over here. So I know he's mean talking, but that's not my name, but that's what he feel like calling me. So but I should challenge him, but none of them, you couldn't challenge him. You could challenge the teacher, right? So it was everywhere. You have to be strong mentally to get through that. And I did. They tried to put us in the lower class, the lower grades all the time. Even if he was excelling, they tried to push you down because they didn't want blackism to excel. That's what it was. So for you you'd have to leave school and go to college to better yourself. And when I left school, I decided enough of it. I didn't go to college. A couple of guys got to college because they was more super determined, you know what I mean? So, but I couldn't be bothered because I felt I would have faced the same thing in college anyway. My parents, they were living at 43 Windsor Road, and they sold the house, and then we moved to 45 Hamilton Road. My mom and dad bought the house for £3,800 in 1965. And if I never forget, £3,800 in 1965. Back in them days, right, you couldn't go to the bank and say, I want £2,000 to buy a house. They run out the bank. So black people at them, they had to devise a way how to save money with them amongst themselves to move forward. And they devised this thing called partner. So everybody throw like a £5, show you can. £5. If you can't throw £5, you throw £250, and the next person throw £250, make it one. Yeah? And for my coming, all the people I knew was showing partner. And most of them who buy the house buy the partner money buy the house. Like I said, you couldn't get a loan from bank to buy a house. So you have to have a way, devise a way, and that was the way. And in ours and in Brent, most majority of the people who bought house was bought by partner money. And it's a structural thing, a weekly thing, where every week everybody show the partner, this week you get a draw, next week you get a draw. So every week somebody gets a draw. But it's a commitment. You have to be committed to it. Okay, if I don't pay my money this week, then you can't get your draw this week. So if you know you can't be committed to it, you can't be involved in it. I'm in a partner now, right this minute. And after so many years, I'm still in a partner now. But the person who's in charge of the partner have to be somebody who we can trust and somebody who know what they're doing, put it that way. Yeah? And my partner, I've been with him about 16 years. And he's got down to a T. And if people come in with difficulties, he always help people out. I mean, because sometimes people, your boiler might break down and on the money. Some such and so. If I was supposed to go, say, Andy, but Marie need the drug because her boiler broke down. So, okay, make sure of it. Make sure of it this week, I'll have mine the following week. Like a teamwork thing, I mean. And she works. My mom was always working. She's always working. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Sunday morning, she used to put on, she would sort the red peas from the night before. I said, don't forget to put on the peas on. And she gone by 7 o'clock, and Sunday morning, she gone to work, and she worked until 1 o'clock. And she come and she cook dinner, and she used to work. So we never really spend a lot of time, because that lady work hard to put food on the table and to keep a roof over her head. My woman work hard as well, but she's always out working, and him as well. So we never really, we spend a little quality time, but not like if it's now. Because she would never take a day, and every overtime, she do all overtime going, all extra hours, everything. Just to, because these people, they're workers, they're like, no, you know what I mean? So, like in the evening, we sit down to watch the TV. We don't get time to watch TV or anything. She'll be in the kitchen doing something, hiring her school clothes. I should be preparing something for next day. So, but they was always around, put it this way, they was there. They was always there. My mom used to work in where they make some, it was a glass. Glass, wine glasses. Clinton, so place up in Staples Corner. Them places don't exist no more. My dad was a die caster. He used to work with metal, hot metal. He did that for years. My mom was strict. She was very strict. My dad was an easygoing guy. He wasn't even, he was one of them guys, tell you off, but my mom, she was a soldier of the family. She ran the family, definitely. I wouldn't say she's strict, but she's strict, but she knew what she was doing. Because she lived up to my father with a weed run right in the house. So she had to, somebody had to do it, and she was the one who did it. She was good lady. I left school. My first job was in Park Royal, working in a factory. Them times it was mainly factory work. And then working in an engineering company. Doing capstone operating, making tools, some machine tools. It was hard work. And it was like piecework. The more you do, the more you earn. I did for a while, and I did quite a few jobs. At them times you could get a job easy. You walk out to one job and walk at the next one. Very easy to go work at them time. But there was menial jobs in it, so it was easy to go. And I just work until then I ended up at the dentistry. Because Jim was doing dentistry with Lassell Curtis. And we started doing making crowns and stuff. And I was doing that for about 10, 15 years. And then from there, I worked in London Barracks Brent as well, in the housing department. So I move up gradually. I mean, I work with Brent Youth Project. I did it for quite a while. I did it for voluntary. I did for two places. One was voluntary, one was paid. I used to work during the school holiday. We used to take the kids them to like cinemas, museums, all different type of parks during the course of the day. These are parents who didn't know where to send the kids on the school holiday. So they go to a place and we'll look after them from 9 till 3. And I love doing that. I love it. Loved it. We go to Madame Tussauds, we go to the zoo. And you could see the kids, they love it, and I loved it as well. Because every day we do something different. And don't feel like you can't achieve anything if you feel you want to achieve it. You have to be strong. You have to be strong. You can. Because if I should have been more persistent, I do believe I wasn't as persistent as I should. Like I was with Maria. I should be more persistent with my career. And I maybe could have been better. But I think be more persistent and be yourself and be confident. I think that counts for a lot. A lot of people get knocked back and just say, I can't be bothered. That's why what put me off is the racism I come in school. I said, if I go to college, I'm going to come back and the same. Just I can't even be bothered with that no more. That's why I didn't pursue it no further. And so to be yourself, be strong, and don't take knockbacks. Because it's easy to. The kids of now, right, they could never imagine our lifestyle of memory coming from the Caribbean. Coming from the Caribbean, back in them days, life was so different. At the age of 12 and 13, you're like a man. The things we had to do. I had to be responsible from I was about 9 years old. Yeah? Which means kids now, they're like, when I come here, I say kids at 10, they can't do this, they can't do that. So I left from 4 years old because that's what you have to do to survive the environment you live in. So kids come in, I tell them, my kids come in and say, their mother tell them something, do something. I ain't doing it. I could never tell my family I'm not doing it. You have to find a way to do it. Because that's the way it is. You can't say, I can't. You have to devise a way to do what you have to do. But times have changed. Well, like I'm saying, it's nearly 60 years ago we're talking about. So you wouldn't expect it to be the same. I've enjoyed my journey so far. I'm lived to be 70 years old. So I just give thanks.